What exactly is Wall Street? Wall Street is a street in New York City, specifically at the southern end of Manhattan. But, in a figurative sense, Wall Street is a synonym for the financial industry and the firms that operate within it. This connotation stems from the fact that many brokerages and investment banks have historically established headquarters in and around the street, in order to be close to the New York Stock Exchange. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, so we can continue the video. Sounds good? Awesome. Thank you. While being on Wall Street is no longer required for a financial industry firm, many are now located across the country, or even trading stocks, which is now mostly done online. The term, Wall Street, still refers to business, the investment business, and the interests, motivations, and attitudes of its participants. Although Wall Street and its surrounding southern Manhattan neighborhood, dubbed the Financial District by locals, remain important locations for a number of financial institutions, the globalization and digitization of finance and investment have resulted in the establishment of many American broker-dealers, registered investment advisors, and investment companies across the country. Still, Wall Street refers to the financial markets, publicly traded companies, and the investment community as a whole: stock exchanges, investment and commercial banks, brokerages and broker-dealers, financial services, and underwriting firms. It is a globally recognized expression that represents the United States investment industry and, to a lesser extent, the United States financial system. The Wall Street area is home to both the New York Stock Exchange, the world's largest equities exchange, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, arguably the most important regional bank of the Federal Reserve System. Wall Street is frequently shortened to the Street, as it is used by those in the financial world and the media. For example, when reporting earnings, an analyst may compare a company's revenues to what the Street expected. In this case, the analyst is comparing the company's earnings to what financial analysts and investment firms anticipated for that time period. Wall Street's history. Wall Street was named after the wooden wall built by Dutch colonists in Lower Manhattan in 1653 to protect themselves from British and Native Americans. The wall was demolished in 1699, but the name remained. Because of its proximity to New York's ports, the Wall Street area became a thriving trade center in the 1700s. However, it did not become a financial center until 1792, when 24 of the most prominent brokers and merchants in the United States signed the Buttonwood Agreement. They reportedly gathered on Wall Street, under a buttonwood tree, to do business. The agreement outlined the common commission-based method of trading securities, effectively establishing a members-only stock exchange. War bonds, as well as banking stocks for institutions such as the First Bank of the United States, the Bank of New York, and the Bank of North America, were among the first securities traded. The oak that became the NYSE grew from this acorn of an agreement. The Buttonwood brokers changed their name to the New York Stock and Exchange Board in 1817. The organization rented out trading spaces in various locations until 1865, when it settled on its own location at the corner of Wall and Broad Streets. As the United States grew, several other major exchanges, including the New York Mercantile Exchange, the New York Board of Trade, the New York Futures Exchange, NYFE, and the American Stock Exchange, now known as the NYSE MKT, NYSE Amex Options, established headquarters in the Wall Street area. Banks, brokerage firms, and financiers had offices clustered around Wall Street to support the exchanges, to be where the action was. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the House of Morgan, officially J.P. Morgan & Co., the forerunner to J.P. Morgan Chase and Morgan Stanley, was located directly across the street from the NYSE, at 23 Wall Street. Following World War I, New York City surpassed London to become the world's largest and most significant financial center, and Wall Street was the financial center of NYC. Main Street versus Wall Street. Wall Street is frequently compared to Main Street. Individual investors, small businesses, employees, and the overall economy are all represented by the term Main Street. It is derived from the common name for a town's main street, where the majority of the local businesses are located. There is frequently perceived conflict between Main Street's goals, desires, and motivations and those of Wall Street. Wall Street is typically associated with large corporations and financial institutions, whereas Main Street is associated with mom-and-pop shops and small businesses. The Wall Street Journal debuted in 1889. Charles Dow, Edward Jones, and Charles Bergstresser founded the Wall Street Journal on July 8, 1889, as a 4-page afternoon newspaper devoted to objective financial and business news. The three men were journalists, but Dow was also a mathematician who devised the idea of creating a benchmark list of companies and their stock prices to represent the entire stock market. Soon, the journal was publishing the Dow Jones Industrial Average, DJIA, index, as well as hundreds of stock prices, bond and futures prices, and the average prime rate for bank loans. Before the advent of real-time internet listings, the journal was the paper of record for the financial markets for nearly a century. What is the best way to get a job on Wall Street? Getting a job on Wall Street frequently begins in college. Finance, business administration and management, economics, accounting, and mathematics are all natural fits for the investment industry, but firms will also consider degrees in marketing or engineering. During at least one summer, try to get an internship at a Wall Street firm or a similar institution. It is advantageous to have a Master of Business Administration after college, MBA. Other areas of expertise, however, can be useful for certain targeted positions. Many research teams include at least one person with industry experience, such as doctors for medical and pharmaceutical companies or computer coders for semiconductor or high-tech fields. Wall Street is both a physical street and a metaphor. It is home to a number of financial and investment firms, as well as institutions such as the New York Stock Exchange and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Globally, it's also come to represent the United States finance and investment community and industry, including its interests, attitudes, and behavior. Have you seen movies like The Wolf of Wall Street and The Big Short? Let us know down in the comments what you think about Wall Street. Leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.